So there we have it then. Rally Portugal is done. I am recording this now because it appears that Faf has been interrupted around the 26th runner, which means that, well, it looks like it's not going to be restarting because it's been stopped for quite a long time, and I believe the driver's coming over the finish ramp as I record this. So let's talk a little bit about the event, and I'll go into a bit more detail with the sport categories this time, as I did do that in the previous video, and there'll probably be a bit less about the World Rally Championship, the lead one, because that was in yesterday's video. But anyways, what a performance for Seb Ogier. He kept it on the road, he kept it relatively clean as well, and managed to hold off Oitanak. Oitanak, you could argue, was the fastest person over the weekend. What cost him the rally win in the end, that 10.1 second gap at the end of it all, where you could argue that it was that slow puncher that he got in Saturday afternoon. Terry Neville was in third, but it was quite a lonely third. He was a minute behind Tanak, but this is where he needed to be, after all. This is the position he needed to have. Adrian Formeau manages to get fourth. Danny Saunders slowed down over the course of today, but Danny Saunders here part-time, and he managed to bank a good amount of points yesterday. So another fourth place for Formeau. Four for Formeau. It's quite fitting that he's the driver of the 16 car as well, but after having had two podiums in a row in Sweden and the Safari, this just shows that this guy is on the up, and it shows that I was right in my prediction about him a couple of years ago when he started to falter, and then when he was announced to be doing the BRC last year, I said he's going to be like Elfyn Evans. Elfyn Evans did his year in the BRC, came back to the WRC, and then all of a sudden was the competitive championship contender that we know him to be now. And Evans managed to get across the line in 6th, despite the fact that on the penultimate stage he had to go to EV mode with the car overheating. You can see on the dashboard it said oil temp. On the commentary they were talking about the engine temp, and yeah, he managed to make it to the end. Sadly, that didn't happen for Gregoire Munster, who was fraught with problems throughout the weekend, but on the penultimate stage, at about 1 kilometre in, took a bit too much of a cut at the inside, where it was like soft sand. He got wedged, got stuck, and it was game over. But that means the top 10 is filled out by Gryzin, Solons, McAleen, and Larry Una. Solons taking the win in WRC2 by 6.4 seconds over McAleen. First win for Solons in WRC2. A first win for the GR Yaris in WRC2 as well. And that makes it the third manufacturer to win a WRC2 event this season. Gryzin was not entered for points in the event. I believe his teammate Johan Russell was, but he's picked up 2 minutes of penalties, which inevitably kind of cost him the win in WRC2. It was for things such as, for example, not fitting his seatbelts or his hands device when he was taking off from a punch repair. I think his co-driver didn't have the seatbelt fastened and he didn't have his hands clip back on properly. It's one of those things that's really faffy in the rules, but it's one of those things that you have to respect. Rupert Corrin was performing quite well as well. As was Martin Prokop with that Fabia. It started to work really well for him. And Jorg Linnemey and Dapra. Armindo Araujo was dropped right down as well with a minute-long penalty. And one of the names I didn't talk about yesterday, but we did see Jean-Michel Raoult competing. His co-driver is Isabelle Galmiche. So the first woman to be on the top step at WRC podium since Britia Pons in 1997. Quite fitting to see her in the stages at the time at which another icon of women in motorsport and women in rallying, Michelle Mouton, has announced her retirement as the safety delegate for the WRC. She said that she started doing motorsport in 1973, and now, 51 years later, she is 73. So, yeah, that was emotional. When I heard her talking about that and saw her being interviewed by Molly Pettit, I actually teared up. But yeah, WRC3, let's go through that quickly. It was close. I believe that 22 Faf isn't going to be running. in which case it would be 2.5 seconds had Matteo Chatillon not picked up a penalty between him and Diego Dominguez. Yancherdi also picked up a penalty, but that would close him any further up to Bruno Bellaccia. But what that means is that Clio is starting to perform better and better, and if we see more and more capable hands driving it, we could see an outright WRC3 win coming up soon. Last time out in Croatia, it was a non-junior WRC3 win, but the juniors still managed to beat a Clio. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Anyways, what we can confirm is the standings. Thierry Neuville is now on 110 points, Elfyn Evans is on 86, Oid Tanak on 79, Fourmeux on 71, Seb Ogier on 70. Fourmeux is still in 4th in the standings, and he's holding his own against people like Oid Tanak and Seb Ogier. But what it does mean is that Neuville has a lead of 24 points going into Sardinia. This point system has played into Neuville's favour, but I don't know if we can comprehensively say that that would be the reason for his performances. In fact, I don't believe that it would be the case. Under the previous system, he would be 16 points clear, I believe. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that it's proven as decisive. I think it's just exacerbated the effect of the performance that these drivers have. Because Evans would only gain 7 points from the change in format. Neuville gains 15. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.